line.
Oh, the laptop?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
the other my old laptop, it jumps in and off, and then I told you my main computer is down.
Okay. Okay, I'll wait a few more minutes before I start. right, let's go ahead and begin today's session. Welcome, everyone, to our, let me make sure, quick audio and visual check. Visual check. All right, perfect. Everyone here and see me all right?
Yeah, I can see you. Well,
All right, let's go ahead and begin today's and the final open discussion and various topics session for this year. As usual, let's open up with prayer for spiritual workers, and then we'll move right into our question and answer session. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger, in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. All right, welcome once again, everyone, to the final open discussion and various topics session and class session we're going to hold through the IMKC for 2025. As I mentioned previously, and the announcements are pretty much the same. Next year, I think we will have one or two more open discussions in the beginning of the year in January, and then we'll move back into the 21 lessons series, the RSS review and study series. We'll go back into the 21 lessons videos. Um, we'll look at transcripts of those videos. We'll look at excerpts from those videos. And we will give an opportunity for you guys who were not present when that lecture series was first given about 10 plus years ago to pose any questions you may have from reviewing that material. And we'll also include any updates, not to the material itself, but maybe some of the new handouts and presentations that were created since um, those original lectures were given. And if you want to know where you can find those lectures, it's on our YouTube channel, which you guys are on right now, in the playlist area. So I should have had this pulled up already. It's not working. 1 second. Oh, apparently the pointer link I had set up on the website is not working. I have to go fix that later. One second. So if you go on our YouTube channel under playlist, scroll down a bit, you will come to the 21 lessons right here. And so this series of classes is like a foundational 101 type of setup of the mystic and yogic teachings given by Mr. Davis. I think this was over several weeks. And this playlist also includes additional videos from other lecturers that we consider to be some of the foundational teachings in metaphysics and mystic science, including an introduction to Ayurveda by one of our former instructors, Desiree Colazo. So you'll find a lot of videos in this playlist, but the ones we'll specifically go over are the ones that have the title 21 Lessons of Metaphysics. As I am the curator of this page, I have all the videos here. Some of them are private. So when you go onto this list and you see, and you won't see all these classes, just send me an email, send us an email at Mystic Knowledge Center, all one word, at gmail.com, requesting the class you would like access to. But make sure that the email you're sending it from is the one that's tied to your YouTube account. And if approved by Mr. Davis, I'll go ahead and give you access to those private classes. But we will be going over most, if not all, of the 21 lessons classes, including this open discussion class, which is a Q&A session on brahmacharya, which is a topic that many of us are quite curious and have some difficulty with. And that should take us a good chunk of 2026. And then we'll move on to other study sessions, including The Serpent Power, which is another playlist and lecture series on YouTube channel that Mr. Davis gave several years ago. Other than that, just the regular announcements for our Dear Society Florida group. We have a weekly 12 blessing services that we hold every Thursday at around 8:30 p.m. You're welcome to join us in person or on Zoom. Most of us join via Zoom because we're in different locations. We also hold our commemoration services and participate with the headquarters in our larger services like the first and last hours and so on. And then eventually, too, as I mentioned earlier, I plan to go over some of the teachings of Dr. Sri Yogi George King, a founder and president of the Dear Society, as well as a study of the Nine Freedoms. All right, so that's it for announcements. Now opening the floor for all of you to pose your questions. You can post your questions in the chat, and I'll do my best to pose those questions to Mr. Davis, and we'll get those answered for you. And as per usual, as we go along with the conversation today, if there's a particular subject area that warrants further discussion, or I can quickly find an illustration or diagram that goes along with the question, I'll put it up, and that will allow us to dive deeper into the subject matter being brought up by you guys. So the floor is open. Post your questions in the chat, and we'll get those responded to you. Okay, so Vipin here, thank you for your question. I see a question here. He says, I think I am going to take a break and contemplate the information you had given me this year. What would you advise me? After how long of a break should I come back and ask questions? Any advice from me?
What do you mean taking a break? I mean, you you have to keep your mind open and have opportunity as you grow. Opportunity present itself. If you fall away from your path, then you'll miss multiple opportunities. We never know when opportunity is going to come. So taking a break, if taking a break means closing the door and not concentrating on anything, that's or open the door for any progressive movement, I don't know if that's a good thing. I wouldn't do that. I always leave the opportunity open to learn more, do more. As the master said, it's long gone the days that we can retreat to the caves or the monasteries and just work on ourselves. We have to be open
Unfortunately,
to the
yeah.
world and grow and serve at the same time. And I would recommend everyone to I know it's hard for some people to understand, but I recommend everyone to uh to purchase and study The Nine Freedoms by Dr. George King. He has a lecture tape. I would listen to the tape multiple times and then take a minute to read one chapter a week or whatever and concentrate and contemplate on that. But listen to all the I think it's like 12 it's like 9 to 12 lectures, right? Doing?
On the nine freedoms,
Yeah,
yes, he gives one lecture on each for the freedom, and some freedoms he has two lectures on.
yeah. And then he give a question and he gives the question and answer tape too,
Yes.
or recording where people ask him questions and he answered them. It's very enlightening. It's a lot of information and it'll take you years to understand, take you probably 10, 20 years to grasp everything he was saying. But it's a foundational and the lectures he did on the 12 blessings as well. So but and that kind of opened your eyes to the laws of karma that's pressing us today and the pathway that we must follow today. So
So to follow up what Mr. Davis was saying, the nine freedoms, you can find the transmissions and the lectures on the cloud.aetherius.org site. If you subscribe to the cloud, you'll have access to all the lectures and the transmissions. Uh, Unfortunately, they're not separated in a way where you can see the lectures on one side and the no. Okay, so
do they allow you to listen to the transmissions there
no.
or just the lectures?
Well, yeah, on if on the cloud, both the transmissions and the lectures are here. So this is
Okay.
the first Freedom Bravery. This is the transmission, and then right next to it, they have the lecture on that transmission.
Yeah.
I can't play it now because I'm not logged
No,
in.
but it's an eye opener. It's an eye
Yes,
opener, and they should, subscribe and listen to them. It really will help you. And then it'll spark a lot of questions. You come back with the questions, I'm sure I can answer it to some degree.
and if you go to the Aether Society website onto their shop, you can actually purchase the book itself.
Mm.
Uh, so the book has a transmissions and then commentary. And then the lecture is an expansion of the commentary that Dr. George King gave in the book. I think they might be, oh no, they took down the audio extract, but here you can purchase the book here, both physical book or an ebook, or you can get the as well as the lectures on the cloud. And on our YouTube page, I do believe, yes, I do. I wanted to cover that there is a lecture series here on the nine freedoms here. So it's an additional resource for you guys to study the material in the nine freedoms. And I want to go back over these in sometime next year when we approach the teachings of Dr. George King, including others. Pippin also, going along with what Mr. Davis said, where he said taking some time out every day to read through a chapter of the Nine Freedoms per week. Is really he also taught us to schedule ourselves, to make a schedule to create a routine where like every single day we practice pranayama or some spiritual practice at the same time every day. You can also take some time out in the day, maybe like an hour every day to have like a daily devotional where you spend time just studying the teachings, reading. In other words, employing all of the yogas, jnana yoga, mantra yoga, bhakti yoga, and so forth, making time every day to include the practice daily so that you don't find yourself needing to withdraw for 2 or 3 weeks, a month at a time, practice, and then come back into the world. You make it a part of your daily life, and that may help you. Not may help you, that will help you. Um,
Yeah, because it's actually dangerous to get into metaphysical and mystical teachings and then just walk away from it for a while,
right, yeah.
then come
We
back.
are taught
You
that,
hurt
yeah.
yourself by doing that because these teachings elevate your mind. The thing that molds all energy and all matter is mind. So the soul of you manipulates mind or creates consciousness and manipulates mind so that mind can manipulate the energies of the bodies and the of all the bodies on all the realms that's locked in your aura. So when you elevate your mind, you pulling on a different type of mind energy because mind is energy as well. And then if you leave that and drop down to a base level of mind, then you're gonna hurt yourself by doing that because you're gonna create confusion because now you're elevated and you have these elevated thoughts, but yet you fall back down on a basic level of of consciousness where where most people move into a mindless type state and just let life go, and that's not good. So you always have to keep yourself elevated and keep going. Once you reach a certain peak, you need to continue to go up, to elevate yourself, not to go down. And you'll get to a point where your mind stays at a high level of consciousness. It becomes a momentum is become effortlessly. That's where you want to be so that you can continue to attract that type of mind energy so that you can gain greater and greater control over what the mystic teachings call your vehicles of expression, which is the mental bodies, the etheric bodies, the astral bodies, and the physical body.
Okay. All right, next question here. Can we have a quick definition of metaphysics?
Metaphysics, quick definition of metaphysics. Metaphysics is the knowledge beyond physical, the so-called physical science. Meta means after. And I say so-called because uh, physical scientists of today, which they are moving away from, uh, they they only account for so-called physical actions, and they discount the the subtle parts of the subtle energy and subtle mind energy and sound energy behind all actions. They tend not to measure or put it in the formulas that they present to the world when everything must be counted in order to bring about repeated action or control over actions. Now they do this, but they don't realize they do it because if you have a car in a sense, a lot of mental energy went into designing a car. So it is the mental capability that measured everything, that coordinated the position of everything, that allowed a release and movement and restricted the movement of certain things, and they placed everything together under a design. They want to call a engineer, a mechanical engineer design. But all of that was brought together and held together by principles of mind, of you figured it out by using the consciousness, the mind, and the things that's connected to mind, like measurements, like sound, like registering the flow of water, of gas, of heat, and all of these things. All of this is mind. And as long as you stay within the realms of that mind energy, of those the calculated mind energy that you place it, you can you would know that when you press a button or place a key in the ignition, that 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 electronic energy is gonna go down, it's gonna spark the solenoid, the starter. The starter's gonna push out and turn the flywheel. The flywheel is gonna turn the engine, and the piston's gonna create this energy, what they call the horsepower, in order to push that car through open space. All of that is done through mind. All of that was calculated and placed in action through mind. Now, the physical scientists will say, well, that's just engineering. But how do you get to engineering? The only way you can get to engineering is by going through mind, is by reaching someone on a mental level and teaching them a certain laws of nature in order to for them to express that on multiple subtle physical planes and physical planes. So metaphysics is giving you a greater spectrum of understanding of your place or position in life, you know. So it lets you know, it gives you the connection points so that you can do proper what we call soul management. Because behind mind is the soul, and behind the soul is a divine spark of God, which is the spirit. So when we connect ourselves, when we train our mind, we find a pathway back to the soul, and the soul gives us direction to go back to the spirit, to the divine spark of God, and the divine spark of God will give us directions to get back to God itself, to become a part of the conscious God, the God consciousness of the universe. So that's what metaphysics is. Metaphysics teaches us to get back on the journey of connecting ourselves with the absolute, with God. I hope that answers your question.
And you use the term mind there a lot. Could you
Mm.
briefly describe what mind energy is and how it molds and shapes?
Mind energy in Sanskrit, they describe the universal mind as Chitta, which is one of the four principles of Shakti. What is Shakti? Shakti is the release of power by God. In any Bible you go to throughout the world, you will have a reference where they say God spoke the word and the word was God and creation came about. Well, in the mystic teachings, in the metaphysical mystic teachings, they say that this word that was spoken by God, at least one aspect of the word was the AUM, the creative word. And they describe this word as Vak, was being the initial sound that came out of the endless silence. And the endless silence and stillness is the absolute, because the absolute is the background of the whole universe. So when we look up at the black sky, we looking up at God, and God, because God is the blackboard of the universe. Everything starts from there and everything goes back to that. So one of the four principles of this Shakti, which is absolute power coming from God through sound, through the creative sound of God, was first Vijnani, which is supreme intelligence, a matrix of intelligence, which is part of the framework in which all creation will work. And the second is that universal mind energy or network of mind energy that that forms that helps form the universal vision or goal or aspect of God. So so then the next thing is is what all religions talk about, which saying that we live by the grace of God, which is another aspect of Shakti, which is love energy called Amana Shakti principle. And this this Shakti principle allows mind to travel, allows all the energy to travel from one point to the next. And then the fourth major principle is prana, which is a prana shakti, means all power. But this prana must work within the intelligent matrix, which is Vijnani. It must work within the universal mind energy, and it must work according to Amana, the love energy. So it works through those four major principles in order for it to exist as the fourth principle, which is the power of God. So mind energy is a universal energy from God. It's the second aspect, release in according to the Shakti principles. So everything works on nine. If you can imagine also the the uh the internet. We create a Wi-Fi system and everyone can jump on the internet. Well, that's a copy of of the of the universal mind, chitta, and we we use our localized mind or localized brain on multiple levels to tap into this mind energy. And when we tap into it, they refer to it as a manas, which also mean localized mind. Chitta means the universal mind. Manas mean a localized mind, center or mind energy. I hope that answered. That
Y-
answer for you, Dwayne?
Yes, yes, yes. So another question here. How do we elevate? And I assume by elevate they mean to raise one's consciousness.
Yeah, you raise one's consciousness by studying the higher principles of life. When I say the higher principle of life, those principles of life that allows you to make all the right actions. Okay, so if you if you study nonsense, things that you can't really channel and express in a proper way, then or create the proper actions, then it's just nonsense and is not going to elevate your mind. But if you begin to practice things that could put you in a place and have you to follow the divine laws of karma, that's elevating your mind because it's positioning you to create all right actions. And in order to create all right actions, you must understand how to create all right thought. All right actions is always followed by all right thought. And if you want to produce something, so if you want to produce water, we understand that you must use the formula H2O in order to produce water. Now, how are you going to use that water? So once you get the water, once you situate yourself to the water, do you need purified water? You need distilled water. You need hot water. You need cold water, and that creates your thinking will align you with with what you're going to do with that water in order to bring about a certain result. It's all right thinking and all right actions, and the production the product of that action must be something that's going to move things forward, not backwards. So that's elevating your mind, not not just gyrating in one place, moving around and around and around with no proper resort or action. Nothing's good going to come out of it. Come out of it. Arguing, hitting somebody upside the head. Nothing's good going to come out. You know, unless that person is on some type of medical condition and you have to hit them. You have to convince them in some type of way. But the main resort must be a good action, not a bad action. Not an action that's going to have you linger in or linger in one place or going to move you backwards in your forward movement. Would that
All right.
answer the question?
Another question here. How important is breathing and why?
Breath is connected to sound. Sound is an aspect of consciousness. So breath feeds sound and feeds consciousness. So breath is very important for most living organisms, at least on this planet, and probably throughout the universe, because the law is the law. So, so and breath interacts on multiple realms of existence, and we notice that as we develop our consciousness and able to separate our consciousness and travel on the astral realms or the etheric realms, we still use breath in order to control these bodies, or these levels of consciousness. So remember, breath, in fact, breath for the the Tantra Satra teachings, the ancient Tantra Satra teachings teaches us that inhale breath and the exhale breath is a mantra or sound vibration that the soul uses to lock the consciousness into the body or multiple bodies. So if you notice, if you stop breathing, your consciousness exit the body. And the all the matter that came together to build the body and hold the body together, uh, it if you stop breathing, then the body dies and decays. So breath holds the body together, and it is part of the sound, because with consciousness comes sound, because sound is an aspect thought of thought vibrations. Thought vibrations is an aspect of sound. So you must learn to breathe properly in order to enhance the mechanisms of mind energy throughout the chakras. Because each chakra have subtle sound vibrations that calibrate itself to consciousness in order to produce levels of consciousness. When you can learn to do pranayama, which is breath control, you could channel all the energies in in the body to move in a certain direction in order to clean what's called the nadis, which is a energy which is the energy pathways of the body, in order to balance the left side and right side of the brain and align the physical uh, body senses with the astral body senses to produce psychic powers or psychic senses. And once you can do that, and once you go through a process of samyamas, of actually using those psychic senses over and over and over, you can merge those psychic senses with the etheric senses, which is the upper chakras of the body. Uh, and then you can have advanced psychic senses, and you can move Kundalini, the full power Kundalini, consciously up and down the spine, and elevate the consciousness to a state of adeptship or mastership. So that's how important breath is. It gives you the power to manipulate all the pranas, all five major pranas. It gives you the power to manipulate all the mahabhutas, the etheric elements that that make up any body, any physical body, any astral body, any etheric body, and even the energies moving in and out of the chakras. I hope that bring you to some level of understanding. I know it's a lot to take in, but breath control is pranayama is used in all the yogas. In all the yogas, you must use the techniques of pranayama. In fact, all exercises, all physical, all hatha yoga exercises, because uh, all physical exercise is is a form of hatha yoga, and pranayama must be used properly with with all the yogas.
You can see here on the page on the screen, sorry, this table Mr. Davis put together showing the components used in yoga techniques, and it's listed here. Pranayama, breath control, is used, like you mentioned, in all the yogas: Hatha, Raja, Kriya, Nana, Mantra, Laya, and Kundalini yoga, as well as Mudra yoga and um, excuse me, Dharana, concentration. Okay, I had a question here, so let me get back to it. I want to know about Vairagana, I'm sorry, Vairiga, which is non-attachment. How can I practice it in day-to-day life?
Uh, Detachment is one of the first things you do in on the path of yoga. It's one of the first. Is it's a part of the yamas and niyamas in the limbs of yoga. If you go back to niyama, to yama and niyama, which is the first limbs of yoga, they teach us to detach ourselves from those things that create obstruction in our life. So if you see something and you desire that thing physically, then you must root out that desire to have that thing. By doing that, you gain control over it, whether you can have it and not have it. So you must you must gain control over things by detaching yourself from it. And it sounds weird, but it's true. It's true. So you if you close the door on something, then you can control that thing. And you can see that in basic engineering. In basic engineering, they have the X and the O, meaning you open up and then you close out, or the O and the X. You open up, you close it. You open up, you close it. Then you can control that. You can control and measure how you use the thing that comes through the door. But if you just let it flow through the door and just disrupt everything, then you cause destruction. Just like if I walk to my front door and I leave my door open all day long, then the wind, the bugs, the birds, everything comes in, the grass, the leaves. But if I control when the door open and when the door closed, if I put a mat in front of the door and everyone that comes in, they have to dust their foot, that controls the level of dust that's gonna go into the house. If I have a routine of how I sweep, how I mop, that's gonna control the dust. See, you control things by detaching, by cutting things off, by and that's the science. That's one of the first two sciences of uh, of Raja Yoga, which Raja Yoga is the royal yoga of all yogas, because all yogas use Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga is the yoga of mental control. See, uh, the first limb of Raja Yoga is Yama, and Yama is control over thoughts and actions. And how do you control thoughts and actions? By placing a restraint on it, where you control what the outside world, you control the impulses coming from the outside world. You don't let it overwhelm you and have you uh, running to it. If you if you have a animal works on a very basic level. So if you put food out, the animal is going to go and eat that food, regardless regardless when you put the food out, unless the animal is sick. But a human being, they can control when they eat. They can say, "Well, I'm only going to eat during this hour of the day." So, an animal can't really do that. They're driven by instinct and by desire. So we tend to live on our past instincts like animals to a certain degree, where we allow desire, we allow pleasure, we allow all these things to stop us from growing, from moving forward. So we must learn to detach. We must learn to detach. Detachment brings about uh, power over those things you are detaching from. And now, when you gain control over it, you can go back and use it uh, at your under your command, not under its command. And that's one of the great secrets. I think we put together in one of the new chapters of the book. Then we put together something on the yamas and niyamas. The win. There's like a pamphlet on it, right? I think I emailed that to
Yes,
you.
yes. I was
Yeah,
muted.
known as about a 20-page document, I think.
And I know I remember every time we cover uh, some aspect of Raja Yoga, I like to read this a statement to a serious student of Raja Yoga. And I believe this handout and many others, if you go to our Google a shared folder on Google Drive, there should be folders with dozens of handouts and illustrations that Mr. Davis has made over the years that I've uploaded there for you to access and download and study for free. And any questions or comments you have on the information in those handouts, you can feel free to email them to us. We can answer those for you. Or if you go through the classes and you see an illustration or handout um, or a diagram that's in the class but is not in the folder, you can send me an email as well. And if I remember, I'll get them up. You may have to remind me once or twice. But I do like to read this statement out every time we look at Raja Yoga. And it's a statement to the serious student of Raja Yoga. The eight limbs of yoga work together in concert together. The first limb of restraint control begins to clear the auric bodies of negative samskaras, which helps to prepare you for the second limb, observance, niyama, devotion to a higher power. The third limb, asana, will help you bring about a sound body by aligning the life force energies within the subtle bodies and physical body. This brings you to the fourth limb, pranayama, which you mentioned earlier, which is bringing about control over the life force within the body, allowing you to merge the physical, astral, and etheric senses at will through the manipulation of the pranic life forces. Now, the previous four stated limbs must be applied in order to bring about the fifth limb, pratyahara, or the withdrawal of senses, of all sensory perceptions and receptions, and taking complete control of the mind through sixth, seventh, and eighth limbs, which are concentration, dharana, contemplation, dhyana, and meditation, samadhi. Without the control over the passions, the practitioner will never purify the nadis or mind and chakras in order to bring about benefits that come from these techniques. He or she will continue to be a slave to her physical cravings that manifest themselves in uncontrolled passions. And there is a good diagram here which breaks down the samskaras. For those of you that are curious as to um, what those are, uh, there's actually a handout, a series of pages that go into that. Let me go and read it here. Before I do that, let me see if there's any other questions. Okay, no other questions. So, some skaras. Very briefly, Mr. Davis, could you go into some skaras?
Yeah, samskaras are the easiest term to understand samskaras as Swami Sivananda described it. And Swami Vivekananda, I think, described it that way too. That is a scar on the aura. In other words, every thought and every action that you create, it leaves traces of that thought and action on the auric field around your body. And the auric field around your body is really the body of the soul. Now, for many years, scientists say, "Oh, there's no aura," but then when they begin to manipulate the light spectrum, they begin to record the aura, and this so the aura is real, and they can record the this subtle energy that's around every life form. Every life form has this subtle energy that we can't see with our natural eyes. So these samskaras, once you create an action, that action creates a samskara on your aura, whether it's a good samskara or a bad samskara, but it's there until you utilize that energy because you cannot use all the energy of the actions that you create uh, at one time. So if you go do a very good act and you work all day long doing that good act, you building up good energy in the body. then when you go back to elevate yourself to a certain level of energy that produce that energy become available to you again. If you if you do a bad act, that bad act, it compounds the bad action that you're doing later on until you realize that you have to transmit that energy to a higher level. So samskaras are the either bad or good actions or deposits in the aura from your thoughts and from your actions in any given day. And you can notice these samskaras easily. You can raise samskaras up out of your body or to your mental to the mental windows by listening to music. Music, because remember I said sound is an aspect of mind, and it relates. If you turn on a particular music, what it does, it vibrates the aura, and it can bring up past thoughts connected to those sounds, whether you want it to or not. You know, that's why when you hear a certain song, it transport you to the first time or to the actions that you relate to that song. And you can link yourself to that, and you can raise those samskaras, whether they bad or good. It may bring you to tears, it may bring you to laughter, or whatever. But at that point, some mystics use it to transmute that energy by by pulling on a higher form of energy and burning those samskaras up and transporting them to a higher level of energy by using either a violet flame or pure white light from the upper atmosphere of the earth. But the samskaras, you know, those are the things that you create them in your aura, and you must experience them because they are karmically linked to you, to your own thoughts and actions. I hope that kind of explained, because you could, I mean, I can write a 50-page uh, lesson on that.
Mm.
But I like to create these diagrams to help people understand these things quickly. Do you want to add anything to that, Dwayne, that you learned from it?
No, I was going to review these handouts, but I think you've touched on all the major points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have positive samskaras and you have negative samskaras. Now, you also have original samskaras from the soul. The original samskaras of the soul is described as petals on the chakras.
Hmm.
And those are megabytes of energy, but it's sound energy. And sound energy is mind energy. That's why they say that the chakras are centers of consciousness. You have 50 known letters that's described, and in Sanskrit say that they are alphabets, but really they are they are the original uh, sound vibrations released by the soul or placed on the chakras of the body in order to link us to the stream of energies and realms of existence of the universe, and they align them on the spine, which is a an alignment of Shushana, what they call Shushana. And that's why if I touch something, the senses of that touch goes through my fingers, down my arm, and travels up and down my spine before it reach my brain. And then I know whether it's cold, whether it's hot, whether it's cloth, whether it's metallic, whatever it is registered up and down the spine. Now, the physical scientists will tell you, oh, that's just your nervous system. No, that's your chakra system, your psychotron. Uh, uh, that's that's registering that because your consciousness is not just in your brain. Your consciousness is up and down your spine and in your nadi pathways. And that's the difference between science and between physics and metaphysics. We tell you the difference between action. The scientists talk about actions, but we talk about the power, the actions of the soul, the mind, the soul, the mind, and the subtle energies, all that power behind the physical action. I hope that's explainable, understanding. Everyone can understand that.
In the oh, I can't. It might be in the concentration contemplation meditation lecture or how to
Mm-hmm.
develop your clairvoyant powers. One of the advice that Dr. George King gives us, going back to the question of detachment, is when we are, and you gave it to us as well, Mr. Davis, when we are engaging in the practices and we set our intention, say our
Mm-hmm.
intention is to um, recite go into mantra japa for a certain number of times. As we're
Mm-hmm.
doing the practices, certain phenomena or things will occur or happen. And the advice Dr. George King gave us is to note, learn, detach.
Right.
Which so if something happens, make note of it, but then put it aside because that's not what your intention is not what you're doing that practice for. After you complete your practice, go back to that note, study it to try and understand what happened, but then detach from it and don't allow yourself to be drawn by different psychic phenomenon popping up throughout your practice because you'll find yourself running through down a rabbit trail of being lost in an obsession or what have you. I can't. What lecture was that? I think it
Yeah,
was.
because that's you have to if you're seeking spiritual enlightenment, you can't get caught up in the psychic world because it's easy once you once you begin to see things psychically, you can get caught up in that real easy and not realize the greater benefit is to move forward so that you can merge your psychic energy, your psychic senses with the etheric senses, which operates from the etheric senses operate from the heart center up to to the Christ center or the Ardrina or third eye. So the lower centers are plagued with millions of years of impurities that we have brought about as a group consciousness. And it's clogged. That's why we have to cleanse the aura, cleanse the naughty pathways so that we can move our consciousness to the higher centers and operate from there. So you you must not get caught up in the psychic because the psychic the astral psychic senses happens when you can partially move the power of Kundalini in a controlled manner just a few inches from the base of the spine to the sex center. And then you have basic clairvoyance, basic psychic abilities. So, but you can get caught up in that, and and because you still under what they call the mind quality, the different mind quality. You still under Damas, which is an inert type quality of mind, and Rajas, which is a desire type quality of mind. You still between those two, and the uh, the higher type of mind you want to go to is the Savic type of mind, which is present there, but it's always in the background. It's always in the background, and it's not it, it's not abundant to you the way it is in the heart center, in the throat center, and in the Christ center or the third eye center.
Okay.
Did you find that document on Yama and the Yama? It was like a pamphlet I sent you a while ago. You could just breeze through it so they could see there's a lot to learn there on that.
Let me jump into my email. I think I'd find it faster that way. Uh, the Constitution of Man. Is that the 8 components of imagination and visualization? Was it that one? No.
It was around that time. Let me see.
From the Book of Mystic Practices?
Oh no, it was I think
No.
I named it Yama. Let me see. I know I sent it to you.
Yeah.
It's like a pamphlet, right?
Yes. It was the Ancient Constitution of Mystic Man chapter pamphlets back in October. And okay. While I look for that, guys, I wanted
It was
to
called Yama, the First Limb.
yeah, I'm on the first
It
limb.
was it was actually in August. I probably sent it to you twice. I see the first draft was sent to you in August. Look,
And Gmail's search used to be very good. Now it's not good anymore. Too much AI.
it's not it.
While we look for that, there was something I wanted to share with you guys really quickly. Going back to Ethereum's Cloud, there are 3 lectures available for free that everyone can listen to. Levels of Consciousness, Part 1, The Spirit World, How to Develop Your Clairvoyant Powers, and Man's Mind. These two we discussed topics of these 2 lectures here uh, earlier. Topics covered by these 2 lectures earlier in today's session. And you guys are welcome to go back and listen to these lectures. And the thought just occurred to me, if you guys would like to do a study of these 3 lectures, levels of consciousness. Levels of consciousness, there's 2 parts to it. There's the spirit world, and then there's the levels of the masters, realms of the masters, sorry. Mr. Davis has a lecture on this topic as well as several handouts on it. We can cover that. So if you guys want, you can go back and listen to this lecture or go to this lecture for free, as well as these 2, How to Develop Your Clairvoyant Power. This is a very good one. I think in here he talks about the Note, Learn, Detach I mentioned earlier. He being Dr. George King. And also Man's Mind, which is a very good lecture as well. So you guys can go and listen to these. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to have like a little listening party later on in the year, next year, we can do that as well, where we listen to the lecture and we stop periodically throughout it to discuss what Dr. George King teaches in the lecture, and also take any questions. Or we can let everybody, you can go back and listen to it on your own, and then we can have a review and study session of these lectures. It's up to you guys. If you're interested in that, send us an email, and I'll be glad to put that together for everyone. And go back to the questions here. Where is my chat window? Okay, so question here. Oh, hello, Lucinda. Welcome. And welcome to everyone who's recently joined us. Today is an open discussion and various topics session, the final session for this year, 2025. So if you have any questions or comments, by all means, include them in the chat, post them in the chat, and we'll get those answered for you. Question is, what is the difference between your conscious and subconscious?
The conscious mind is that part of the mind uh, that you are using right now in order to communicate to us. It's a basic form of mind energy because of the level, uh, but because of the karmic level of the karmic position that we or the human man are on. But it's a level of mind that allows you to experience a segment of the physical ex, uh, experience and life as for right now. So it normally works through 5 senses of the body, and it has you to see part of what's going on. The subconscious mind is that part of the mind that is that take care of all involuntary functions. And in the mystic world, we look at the subconscious mind as a devic laboratory, because meaning that it the subconscious mind will always follow the laws of karma. A diva, a diva, when I say diva or divic, the divic kingdom, they they understand the divine laws of God, which are the divine laws of karma. And they never step outside of those laws. They understand how to proportion energy, whether that energy is a sound vibration energy, is a proportional space energy, is in the form of air or vapor or or gas, in the form of heat or fire, in the form of water, cool, or whatever. They will follow, or in the form of gross matter, they will follow the law and make sure that everything fits exactly where it needs to fit according to its own uh, configuration of energy and mind. So the subconscious mind is that part of us that will force us, that will force all the energy exactly where it needs to go according to our thoughts and actions. So when we find ourselves sick, it's because that's the configuration that we have placed ourselves in. It's not God punishing you. It's you working out your either good karma or negative karma that allows that to happen. It allows that sickness or whatever happening to you happen. So that's how the subconscious mind works. And the superconscious mind is that part of the mind that's connected to the higher self, the soul, the in fact there's a superconscious mind, then there's a supraconscious mind, which the soul uh, works directly from. Then your higher self views the superconscious mind, which takes its direction from the soul itself too, as well. But it's a little bit independent of the soul, but it still does the same thing. It follows the laws of karma, and it makes sure that the subconscious mind and conscious mind has the energies that it needs. So those are like the three or four aspects of consciousness that we know of and use, or at least that relates to us at the level in which we work from.
You?
I think I go into that in my last book. I go deep into it.
Yes. Am I still muted? Okay, no. Oh, actually, there's an illustration on that too. Oh, sorry.
Hmm?
I was reading the next question to myself and I forgot to read it out loud. Uh,
Okay.
can you I'm sorry. Can you tell me more on the well before that Sharina has a comment here. Yes, I want to hear the lecture about consciousness of conscious mind. Okay, Sharina, so if you go to, like I put it before, cloud.aetherius.org, you can listen to the man's mind lecture. And Well, you can listen to all three of those lectures for free. And there is a lecture on the levels of consciousness. I can't remember the name of it. Mr. Davis has a playlist on that too, on talking about the levels of consciousness, supra, the sub, the conscious mind. And he breaks those up to um, send me an email, a message, and I'll find those lectures and send it to you. They're not coming to mind right now. Question here: can you tell me more on the violet, white, and golden flame practice, the principles and the purpose?
Then we have a diagram that goes into that, right?
Yeah, we do. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Yeah. Um,
Violet, if I could spell, the practice of the presence.
the violet flame actually comes from the logos of the Mother Earth. And so that you understand and know about that is the Kundalini power that we use. And Kundalini, a good way to understand Kundalini is to I like what's his name the serpent power. They describe it as the vehicle of consciousness for the soul. So the soul, we're told in the advanced mystic teachings that in order to live on this earth, we have to come through the logos of the earth. But what's not openly said, but Dr. George King explained it uh, in his teachings, is that uh, when we have to come through the logos of the earth, because this earth is a living being. It's a highly intelligent living being. It's a God. The earth is a God like it's a conscious God aspect of God because it sustained and housed trillions of life forms on multiple levels of consciousness, multiple kingdoms, you can say, as they said back in the day, where there's the insect kingdom, the animal kingdom,
Hmm.
the fish kingdom, whatever, the human kingdom, the deviant kingdom. This Mother Earth houses all of those, all these life forms, and we estimate that there's trillions of life forms here on the earth on different levels. Even the cellular, uh, uh, the cells that make up your body is a life form. So, so you you have to kind of understand how all this, how it all works. The violet flame, uh, when we bring the violet flame up from the Mother Earth, it helps to purify the body, and it synchronizes this all this energy, because all this energy in the body actually pulsate from the Kundalini, which is the vehicle of consciousness that the soul uses in order to manage all the bodies. So the 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 masters for thousands of years told us to request this violet color flame in order to help us get back to where we need to be. And when we request earnestly, the Mother Earth will give us the violet color flame. And the white light is another aspect of the Mother Earth and the sun and all the uh, all the planets of Earth of the solar system as well. And when we request this white light to come down, it helps to uh, to synchronize us back with the universe, which the sun gave life to, or gave life to all the planets of Earth. It helped position these great cosmic beings because it gave the energy to allow these cosmic beings to operate in this orbit, in this body. So, and then we crescent this with the divine spark of God, which is the golden light, uh, the golden sphere, which is an aspect of an express point of the spirit that the soul uses uh, to move through eons of manifested space. And those are the three aspects of the what Dr. George King called the practice of the presence. And it helped to transmute negative energy in the aura and help to align the energies within the auric body. And it helps to give us perspective when we do this. And alignment when we do it right. I hope that answers your question. But I
That's
think we gave this we published this, right?
yeah.
These diagrams.
Yes. This one
It's in
should
the
be.
it's in the what you call them in the folder, right?
Yes, it should be in there. Mhm. Does does Microsoft not make Publisher anymore?
Hmm.
No, I recently installed Office, but I don't see Publisher. Did they stop making Publisher?
I don't know. I still have publisher. I don't know.
Because I found the brochure. We have a practice of the presence brochure, and I was trying to open it, but it's in Publisher, but it's telling me Microsoft Office does not
That's
have.
why you got to transfer that stuff to PDF because you never know, you know.
Hmm. I'll fix that later. What was I looking at? Uh, Another question here. When I meditate, sometimes I see those three colors. I assume he's referring to the violet, white, and golden colors. Uh, like in an aura shape. Is there any meaning on this scene?
There's always meaning, but a lot of times when you call yourself uh, in a concentrative level where it brings on uh, psychic visions or contemplative visions, you you have to study that for yourself to see what it means. On the outset, I could tell you that if you're doing pranayama properly and chanting mantra properly, you're gonna have a light show. You know, at least that's how it was with me as far back as when I was 11 or 12 years old. There was just I would see all different types of colors that I had no names for. Uh, but you have a light, so you see all these different lights, so you're going to have that. And and so, and you will see, eventually you will see the violet color flame, you will see the white light, you will see the golden light, you'll see these things. So those are, like I said, don't get caught up in it until you can control it.
Oh, what the? Publisher will be retired in October 2026. They're retiring Microsoft Publisher.
Oh yeah, so they're not going to allow you to email it across. You just gotta, if you have it, you just gotta move everything to PDF.
Right, because I installed the latest version of standalone Microsoft Office and they stopped including Publisher in Office in
Yeah,
2019. I have 2024, so I don't have Publisher
yeah.
unless I go 365. Oh man, I can't stand Microsoft. Anyway, that's not important for right now. Is there any other questions? I'll work away around that later. I have all these publisher files from you that I can't open unless I open it in 365. And I don't want to use 365.
It's probably got the same amount of information in it that these are three, right?
Yeah, one, two, three. Well, these are in the prayer. There's an additional page in the publisher that brochure, Practice of the Presence brochure, which I don't have in PDF, but it goes into, well, I'll show you when I open it. It looks janky with this program. But on the first page, it says more on the violet flame, and it gives more detail.
Hmm.
What's called the violet flame brochure. I think it's this one. Yeah, these are from 2014, 2013.
It's good to know too, like some of the even the Christian teachings, the Torah, uh, the Hindu Upanishads, even the Quran, they talk about the body being formed from the earth, from the earth.
Hmm.
The all of that in mystic terms, all that means that the light stream had to come through the uh the logos of the earth in order to have permission to mold and shape the elements of earth into an etheric body, a mental body, an etheric body, and astral body, and then eventually a physical body. So they had to come up through the logos of the earth and come down and come through the earth. And that's how we given permission to use the elements of earth from the divine mother, which is the the logos of the earth. So that's why you find those statements in the in these different Bibles.
It jumbles it up.
Oh, that's an old one. I got that. I can send it to you. I don't have it on this computer I'm on,
Mm.
but I can send you that.
Let's see, this program it jumbles it up. So when I try to convert
Yeah,
it to
yeah,
PDF, see if I
yeah.
make it read properly,
I can
but
send it
no.
to you. I forgot I did that.
Okay. So the question here, breathing techniques for beginners. They're asking if you can recommend some breathing techniques for beginners. Yes, there
Uh,
are.
we we recommend two major books, and that's Contact Your Higher Self Through Yoga by Dr. George King, by Dr. Sri Yogi Riji George King, and also The Science of Breath, or the Hindu Science of Breath by Yogi Ramacharaka. So those are the two. Dr. George King give you six different practices to use. The Science of Breath can explain them a little bit more. And the Science of Breath was written back in the early 1900s. And I think the Contact Your Higher Self, the yoga was written back in I think either the 50s or the 60s. I can't remember.
Yeah, they don't have the publication date here.
As you move on, you'll begin to study and understand it. Also, Swami Vivekananda, he gives I think he gives something on Raja Yoga, which
Hmm.
has some breathing techniques in there as well. And Swami Sivananda gives some techniques as well. But uh, the two I would use is those two.
So the first one he mentioned, Contact Your Higher Self Through Yoga. You can pick that up, the physical book or an ebook from the Aetherius Society. Go to aetherius.org and on their shop link here, books, Contact Your Higher Self Through Yoga. It's a book that Dr. George King initiates us into several pranayama practices that everyone can do. And for the Yogi Ramatraka book, the second book Mr. Davis recommended, you can go to our website, mysticknowledge, one word, .org. And under ebook library -1, the first author listed is Yogi Ramacharaka. And here the first book is Science of Breath. It's a PDF. You can click it and you can download it for free and get access to this text as well as the breathing practices in there. And there's about, what, 14 practices given here? More
Yeah,
than
but
that.
he explains I think at least four of the
Yeah.
Contact Your Higher Self through yoga practices.
Yeah.
But he gives you the basics of it. But Contact Your Higher Self through yoga is more structured, I would say.
Hmm. All right. All right. So I guess I'm going to start winding down now. Are there any final questions or comments that you guys have for this final session for the year? And Nimai, some time ago, you had told us about a practice that we can do every day, right? I think you said at the end of the day, we sit down and go into the silence and reflect upon all the thoughts and actions we had that day, and try to and use that as a way to try and reduce our negative thoughts and negative actions and improve or increase the amount of positive thoughts and positive actions that we take each and every single day. And so if I'm recalling that properly.
Yeah, but I remember I also said that during the day, if you find yourself thinking something negative, you immediately act on it at that time.
Hmm.
Then at the end of the day, if you missed anything, then you do that.
Okay.
Yeah, those are just those are Raja Yoga techniques to help balance the mind, and it's like a debriefing. And like if you're in business and you just went through a series of actions that you accomplish something, then you come and you debrief
Hmm.
uh, uh, to find out what was good and what was bad and how to move forward. So it's the same. A lot of that came from the ancient teachings of yoga.
Hmm.
Uh,
The observing the
where they
mind
use
practice.
that for thousands of years. That they would end the day and start the day with giving them direction, and end the day with going over what they did that they can that, what they did that they shouldn't do again, and what they did that they can improve on.
And so as we prepare to close out 2025 and start 2026, is there a similar practice we can do where we kind of review the year, um, look for things we can improve, look for things we can continue, look for things we can stop doing, and prepare for the upcoming year?
Yes, you do the same technique. Divorce yourself from those things that you think that held you back. Don't be emotional about it. Be very thoughtful about everything, and spiritual. Put a spiritual look at everything, because you go through everything for a purpose. But see if you have learned your lesson, that you can divorce yourself from those things that's holding you back. Well, like I say, create a window or door of control. You know, so that's very important.
And finally, for me, 2026, that's 6, 8, 10. That's a 10. It's a 1 year, universal 1 year.
Yeah, a year. That's the one means a year of. One means independence. It means leadership. It means focus. So that's a lot of energy to pull on.
Hmm. And how would we do that? How would we pull on that independence,
Well, you
focus,
pull on
and
that energy by realizing that it's there, and that this might be a good year to start something, to improve something. Remember, remember the zero is the potential of all numbers,
hmm
right?
right?
And the one is the signal that everything, that all the future numbers can line up before it. So when you have the one, then that means that you have the power to align all other numbers. When you have the zero, you have the power to produce all numbers.
Mm.
But the one is the leadership number that you can align all numbers.
Okay, everyone.
Such is the power of numerology, understanding
Right.
numerology.
All right, everyone. Hope we can take that into our concentration and contemplations as we look back on the previous year and prepare for the upcoming year. If you have any further questions or comments, you can feel free to send them to us via email. It's Mystic Knowledge Center, all one word, at gmail.com. If you do send us a question and you are okay with us responding in a subsequent session publicly, then let us know in the email. Otherwise, we will assume that it is a question you want responded to privately, and we'll just respond to you privately. If there's any comments or recommendations or things you'd like us to look at in this upcoming year, please do send us an email. If you'd like to volunteer and help out with us with producing some of the materials, either working behind the scenes or in front of the camera, what have you, do let us know as well, and we'll be glad to welcome you and find a place where you can fit in. And there's anything else you'd like to add before we close out, Mr. Davis?
I mean, there's plenty of work to be done. So if people are serious about helping, then there's plenty of things that they can do to help promote the site and help publish the teachings. We probably have over uh, probably what 1,000 pages of documents we need to publish.
Yeah.
So that's like 3 or 4 books right there that we need to edit and go through.
Okay. All right, so if there's no further questions or comments, let's close out today's session by reciting the New Lord's Prayer. Uh, Actually, no. I like to January. Let me see if I got this properly. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm trying to get everything on screen properly. No, that's not right. So I'm going to close out the year. And instead of doing the New Lord's Prayer, let's give thanks to our teacher who has given us another year of wonderful teaching and guidance and advice. Let's close out the year and this final session reciting a prayer to our teacher, mentor, guru, and friend, Sir Nehemiah Davis. This is a prayer that we students put together for our teacher. And if you would like a copy of it, you can send me an email specifically, and I will share it with you. It is not posted in the folder, but if you would like it, copy of it, let me know and I'll send it to you. Blessed is our beloved spiritual teacher, mentor, guru, and friend, Sir Nehemiah Davis. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, we come before you now in all humility to uplift our beloved spiritual guru, Sir Nehemiah Davis, at this time. O everlasting Spirit, great is the love and sacrifice of this one who tirelessly gives of himself, so that we may be delivered from the darkness of our ignorance into the all-embracing light of God. O wondrous Brahma, send forth your mighty healing power to Sir Nehemiah, so that he may be lifted up, so that he may be made strong, so that he may continue to radiate thy love and light unto all the world. Thrice blessed is this wise one, who was found and left and given of his very heart to man, so that he may see, and seeing know, and knowing act, and acting become that which he should be. O divine creator of all this wonder, shed thy mighty beams upon us now, so that we might be better equipped to devote ourselves in lasting service to all. O wondrous Brahma, blessed is our beloved spiritual guru, Sir Nehemiah Davis, for all that he has done and continues to do for mankind throughout his lifetime. And Almighty Power Brahma, blessed is his great champion of light for that which he is now. O God, thy divine will be done. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for your kind attendance and participation. Thank you for another wonderful year. Look forward to next year and to being, on my end, more consistent with the classes. That's my resolution for 2026, to be more consistent with the classes as well as with the materials and schedule that we have pending and prepared for all of you. Thank you very much again for your questions, your participation, your comments, your support. It means a lot to us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2026 and beyond. Thanks again. Have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you next year. Take care.